Hi guys, it's Ruhi, and today I want to share something with you that I take for granted, but I do share with most of my buyers, and I think it's very valuable. When you own a home and you are a new homeowner or you've just been in your home for many years and you haven't maintained it, you can have a lot of things that end up costing you a lot of money. And you could have probably prevented that. When I first moved to California from Canada, I remember that I purchased a home for a lot of money, 500,000 at that time. And compared to what you could buy in Canada, it was double sold my home for in Canada. So when I bought in California in the Bay Area, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm spending $500,000 on a house. And so I better maintain this house. And so I got into the habit and I did a lot of research on things that I would need to do to maintain this house. And some of you know this story. I purchased this house. It was the only house that I could afford. And the house looked like it was haunted. I mean, it had like 12 trees in the front yard and had very old appliances and carpeting, but I needed to make it work because for me it's almost sacrilegious to go and rent. And so I purchased this house and I used everything that we had to make an offer on this house. And so I needed to maintain it. I did a lot of research and I usually share a lot of this with my first time home buyers. But recently, as I've gone into some of my listings, I've realized that this is an important video to share. So today I'm going to share with you the top 10 things you should do on a yearly basis to maintain your house. If you stick around until the end, I'm going to give you a little golden nugget that I wish I had known in the beginning as well. Number one is, as we head into the winter, you want to make sure you clean your gutters. I did do a video on this a few years ago and why it's so important to clean your gutters. So first of all, cleaning your gutters, you can do it yourself. As long as you've got a high enough ladder and you've got someone spotting you in the back, right? And again, if you are worried to do it, I'd get a handyman or your gardener can do it as well. But essentially, as long as you have some sort of a bag or something to collect the leaves and you've got some gloves on, you literally can go through and clean your own gutters. If you have a blower, some people do it with a blower. I don't suggest climbing on your roof, but number one is cleaning your gutters. Number two, you do need to hire someone because I don't recommend you climbing on your roof, but you've got to check your roof, especially as you're heading into a rainy season. You want to make sure that you don't have any tiles that are broken or anything, any tiles that may have flown off if you had some windy conditions. Most of these roofing companies are great. They will come out and do a free roof inspection for you or a roof evaluation. And I would do that every year if you can, because you want to make sure that you are preventing any sort of leak. And so if they walk around and they look, it's much easier to replace a couple of tiles rather than going and repairing water damage. So that's number two. Number three is drain your hot water heater. Now, draining your hot water heater prevents sediment and hard water buildup. And so once a year, you can drain your hot water heater, and I'm going to link a video so that you can know how to do that if you've never done that before. It's not that hard. I've learned to do it, so I highly recommend that you go out and you drain your hot water heater once a year, okay? Number four is a biggie, which is make sure that you service your HVAC. Servicing your HVAC is, maybe it's going to cost you $100 to do that, but all they're doing is essentially coming out to make sure that everything with your HVAC is running well, that your thermostats are doing fine, and always better to get a professional, but you can service your HVAC yourself as well by just making sure your batteries are up to date in your thermostat. If you've got a smart HVAC, then you can run a diagnostic on that. Now, that brings us to number 5, which is changing your filters. So the biggest thing that I see when I walk into any of my listings or my sales is I look to see how dirty the filters are. And I can tell you 8 out of 10 times the filters are very dirty, which means they're not being changed. At minimum, you should be changing your filters for your HVAC at least once a quarter, if not every month. And you can buy cheap ones. You go on to Amazon, you can buy cheap filters. Make sure you put in the right size, but change your filters. And that also applies to your refrigerator, to your dishwasher. If you have a reverse osmosis water filtration system, make sure you're changing your filters. That will, add life to your appliances and to your system. So very important. It's a small thing, but if you change those filters, you're going to add longevity to your appliances and your HVAC system. Now, what I like to do is I go online and I order 4 or 5 filters at a time. And most of the time, if you buy them in bulk, you get a better rate. So whether it's for your refrigerator or for your HVAC or your dishwasher, buy these filters ahead of time. And that way you can replace them. And I think your dishwasher, there are some models where you can just clean your filters. You don't need to be purchasing it all the time. You can just clean it and use that. Now, number 6 is a big one, which is cleaning your dryer vent. Now, obviously, you should clean your dryer vent every time you use the dryer. So you pull out, depending on, again, on your model of your dryer, you pull out the little vent screen and you clean that. Now, you have to make sure that it can go deep enough where you can get all the lint and gather all of that. If you can't do that yourself, then hire someone. But besides cleaning that little filter, you want to make sure that any other lint that's in that dryer vent is cleaned. A lot of house fires are caused by lint in that dryer vent. So something, again, that you can prevent, and it will make your dryer more efficient as well if you keep that clean. So we're up to number 6, right? So now number 7 is a very important one again, servicing your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide detectors. Now, a lot of these smoke detectors now are coming with 10-year batteries, but you want to make sure that they are working. And all you're going to do, depending on the fire smoke alarm, you're going to go and press that button and make sure that it's responding. And the same thing with your carbon monoxide detector. Again, these are small things, but you want to make sure that you are at least once a year checking in on those things, because the smoke detectors, I believe, last every 10 years, but you never know. Some people have them hardwired and others have the batteries, but you want to just make sure that they are working. Okay, so that's number 7. Number 8 is to check your water pressure. Now, how do you check your water pressure? Well, you can buy a little gauge. It's about $20, $25, and it will tell you the PSI, so the pressure of the water that's coming out. And typically you're looking anywhere between 40 and 60 PSI. And that just gives, again, your fixtures longevity. So that if you've got too high water pressure, then essentially you're breaking down the life of your water fixture. So make sure you check your PSI on your water pressure. And again, you can do that once a year. And along that same line, I would say that for us, and what I do is I try to look at our sprinklers at least. Actually, we look at our sprinklers every 6 months, because you want to make sure your sprinkler heads and the water pressure that's coming out is good, and that you don't have any water leaks. And so typically that's one of my spring items to do, home maintenance items to do, so I can go back and make sure that I'm just not, losing water somewhere and creating a damp, wet soil that's going to cause problems later. So that's a part of number 8. Number 9 is go in your garage and make sure the springs that are above your garage door are all in line and that they're lubricated. Now, you could lubricate them with some WD-40, but make sure they're lubricated, because as the temperature changes, the springs will snap, and you don't want them to snap, because if they snap, that means your garage door is going to come shutting down, or it's not going to open when you need it to open. And we're so used to having a garage door that lifts by itself on that remote. So make sure you're looking at those springs. Make sure you're looking at your the motor of your garage door opener, and just making sure that everything is good. And the one thing I like to do is, when my garage door shuts, I like to make sure that the seal on the bottom is in fact sealing, so I don't get any sort of critters in my garage. So you want to make sure that that seal is there, and if not, you can order a replacement seal for the bottom of your garage door. Okay, so then number 10 is check all your windows and doors. So what you're looking for when you're looking at your windows and doors is essentially you're looking to see if there's any air coming in. Is there any energy, are they energy efficient? Is there a draft coming in? Are there cracks in the windows? Are you seeing any sort of condensation or fogginess in the windows? Because you can prevent the failure of a window by just keeping on top of it. If you keep on top of it, most of these windows have very, very good warranties on them. But if not, it's better to be able to repair it than to have to replace the entire thing. So keep an eye on your windows and doors. And again, in your doors, look to see, is there air coming in? Is there a draft coming in? Is there space in the door? Can a little creepy crawly or something get into the house? And if you are in an older home and you are feeling that there is a draft coming in, I have again gone to Amazon, and this video is not sponsored by Amazon, but I definitely find some neat things, and actually discovered this new website, Temu. That's really cool as well. I will link both of those below. But you can buy little gap rollers, or like things that you slip under the door and they stay there, and they prevent any sort of draft coming in. Because the minute you've got the draft coming in, and if you've got a smart thermostat, then guess what? It will get triggered, and you will have very inefficient system, and some rooms are going to get warmer, and it's going to throw the thermostat off. So you always want to make sure that you're looking out for these drafts of air coming in, or any areas that you're losing the heat. So that is number 10. And then my bonus for you guys is this. Number 11 is, actually, I've got 2 bonuses. I lied. Number 11 is look out for areas that are going to create pest issues. Okay. And again, I'm not necessarily just referring to the areas where a rodent or creepy crawlies will come in. I'm actually referring to termites at this point. So in California, we do deal with termites. And what I want you to do is make sure that you don't have foliage touching the house. You don't have things in your crawl space that are going to create subterranean termites or any sort of termite activity. So, again, you don't have to crawl under your house yourself. You can hire someone to do that, a termite company like a Terminix or Clark's Pest Control. There is another company that's more organic, and I can't remember the name, but it will come to me, and I will make sure that we either tag it or caption it so you guys know about it. But you can use this organic company as well, but make sure that you are being cautious about things like termites, because you do not want to have termite activity and then you have to spend thousands of dollars to get that rectified. So that is one of your bonus tidbits. And then number 12, which is my little OCD thing, is if you have any porous countertops or flooring, so like marble or granite. When I say porous, where you put down a cup of water and all of a sudden you see a ring forming and you're thinking, wow, how did this happen? That means that your material is porous and it's absorbing whatever that moisture is or whatever that stain is. So if you cook, you could have a spice stain or water stain or any sort of stain, makeup stain. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that everything is sealed. And I will do that at least once a year. And it's a simple thing, and I am going to have a video and show you guys how to seal your countertops and these kinds of things. But it's simple as going to a Home Depot or a Lowe's and buying the sealer and sealing, spraying your countertops and everything, making sure they're clean, and then sealing them and making sure that that sealant absorbs. So essentially it works almost like a primer. If you're wearing makeup and you put on some primer or primer before you put on the paint, so that it prevents that from the water or the stain to be absorbed into the countertop. I hope this all makes sense. I've got more information. If you have some detailed questions regarding any of these preventative maintenance items, feel free to comment below, and I will try to answer it to the best of my ability. I very much appreciate you. This was a request from one of our friends who did ask for some of these preventative maintenance tips, and so I hope this helps. I would love if you would like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thank you for all my followers. I think we almost hit 5,000. Thank you again. I appreciate you all, and I can't wait till I put my next video out, which will be next week. Talk to you then. Bye for now.